dementia residents are very aware that if they lose it, as they say, they won't be able to manage living in a dementia unit with all the challenges that go with that. And they say, we have to have brighter thinking here. We need to know what's going on outside. Otherwise, we'll have nothing to talk about. We won't be able to communicate with others. I mean, indeed, they realise that in a dementia unit, everything's done for them. And some of them realise that that is the case because they've got recent memory loss. But the fact remains that if a person is starved of knowledge and information, they will lose their intelligence. They'll just think that, oh, well, what's going on in the world within these four walls, that's it, nothing else. So they need to have a broader perspective. They need to have outside information, knowledge, reading, insights, so that they can realize what's going on in the outside world and bring that into conversations and communication with others. In particular, those that have a very challenging time are those that get depressed. When they fall into depression, then of course they lose interest, they lose motivation, they lose the will to want to think and make an effort, and it's very difficult for them to get out of it, especially with all the other challenges and problems and stresses that are going on in a dementia unit. And as the residents used to say, you know, as you get older, you have more problems to deal with. You know, not just memory loss, but maybe heart failure or diabetes or whatever it is, lots of medical problems. And you need to be strong to be able to manage it all and think it all through and go along the intelligence road, as they say, because they still need to problem solve, even though they've got recent memory loss and everything is done for them in the dementia unit. They still need to work things out. They still need to know where their bedroom is for a start. That takes direction orientation. They need to work out who their relatives are when they visit and hopefully know their names and converse and communicate with them. That takes intelligence. And then, of course, the activities and getting along with others and communicating with others in the community. That also takes thinking power. So it's not just because they lose their recent memory that that's it. You know, they still have to function in the world, albeit a dementia unit, and get their thinking going in a way that they can manage, get along with people, go to the activities, partake, and still have a reasonable, hopefully a good quality of life. But this takes some doing. It's not automatic. There was one dementia resident who came to the unit, lovely man, youngish, early 70s, very depressed when he first came. Lovely wife, very supportive, but he plummeted. But she was great. He rang every day. She guided him through, you know, the daily. He used to ring her because he used to say, I need to know that I'm on track. And so every day he'd ring her. She'd direct him as best she could over the phone. And he managed to get himself out of that actually through effort, through willpower, through focus, through having an aim. And he was able to get his thinking really back on board for 80% of the time at least. He was able to be positive, optimistic, and alert and bright. And he was very aware of the needs, interests, and requirements of the other dementia residents and was a spokesperson for a lot of the older ladies that didn't have a voice that they could project for themselves. Now, there was another woman, elderly lady. She didn't look it though, she didn't act it, but she was in her 90s, you wouldn't believe it. And she came in very astute, very bright. And she actually was so aware of her thinking patterns, and because she could focus into her past memory, which people with dementia can, though recent memory loss is gone, you know, recent memory loss is there, so they can't recall what's just happened, but they can tap into past memories. So she was very good at this to such a degree that she realized that her behavior had become a bit negative. She was rather sarcastic and she used to put the other dementia residents down, and she could be disparaging. She had an imperious attitude, whilst humorous, was cutting and sarcastic, and she knew that it wasn't good, it wasn't right, and it was hurting other residents' feelings. So she actually became aware of this trait, and tapping into past memory and realizing that she was doing this habitually, she actually turned around. She said to me actually one day, look, I know that I shouldn't be doing this and I need to make an effort and turn it around. And she did. It took her about 3 months, but to start with, she tried to just sort of be quiet and not say anything and tolerate, especially with the disturbing residents who shout out all day, who she used to shout back to them, but began to realise that didn't do any good. So she built up her tolerance power and became a bit more silent, a bit more of an observer. And in the end, she became quite compassionate. And at times with these disturbing residents was quite kind to them and would offer the odd nice word and sometimes help in calming them down. So this is how dementia residents can learn from their past experience. They can tap into the past, and it's good to encourage that with them, because all's not lost because of recent memory loss. As I've outlined in both books, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise, everything in the description below. Companion books on Amazon. Good read, good gift. Thank you for your likes, looks and viewing, and we will, till the next video, thank you very much, and please pass on. Thanks.